new school desks, pens and exercise books. 8-year-old Mukacha Senge from Kwangire in Rwanda is happy. She is lucky to go to school, a school that is supported by the campaign Schools for Africa. UNICEF, the Nelson Mandela Foundation and the Hamburger Gesellschaft got together with the aim to give all children in 6 countries in southern Africa access to education. Within the campaign there is special focus on orphans, girls and extremely poor and vulnerable children. In the countries south of the Sahara, only every second child goes to school. Schools are often overcrowded and poorly equipped, especially in rural areas. The learning situation is catastrophic. Consequently, a lot of children drop out of school early. If there are classrooms at all. Here in Quito, in Angola's inland, the children give lessons outside. After 30 years of civil war, vast areas of the country have been destroyed. The children often even bring their own chairs. In between the remains of former houses and in the ruins of the old school, teachers have to manage with the simplest of means. A lot of children have a long way to school. Often they have to walk for hours, some of them barefoot. Many children are unable to reach their schools, especially during the rainy season. Also, Mukacha Senge has a long walk to school. The 8-year-old girl lives with her 2 older siblings in a simple hut. Her parents died 3 years ago. The 3 children live in extremely poor conditions. The roof of the hut leaks in many places. The kitchen merely consists of a simple cooking pit. In the tiny garden, the children grow yams and beans to feed themselves. The oldest, Yaramana, looks after the 2 younger ones so that they can go to school. I think it's important that the 2 go to school so that they can have a better life later. Education is often the only chance for the children to break through the cycle of poverty, hunger and helplessness. Therefore, they need schools in which they feel comfortable and for which they are willing to face the strains of the daily walk. Leandro Bandera from Angola would also like a proper school.
Hope is looming high on the Angolan horizon. Mementos of their 3 decades-long war now assigned to a museum. Where once they fled in desperation from hostilities in the countryside between ruling MPLA and UNITA rebels, Angolans are starting to rebuild their country. An old splendor now emerging from the ruins of war. The battle in Huambo was one of the most severe. Everywhere the walls of the city bear the scars. The children are back in class, but packed into schools shattered by war. Here at San Jose Primary, 2,000 pupils do their lessons back to back in the open. If it rains, there's simply no school. Yet for Leandro, 3 years of peace has meant he can now at least dream of a perfect school instead of having nightmares about the war.
Bombs falling, houses falling, people running away. Children being taken off their mothers' backs and shot at. I used to have nightmares about the war. A perfect school for me would be a school with proper windows, doors, desks, electricity, vase with flowers in my class. Not like now, there's a lot of noise. We're all squashed in together.
One thing is better now. With a solid foundation of peace in place, hundreds of new schools are being built throughout the country.
3 years after this country finally ceased war, they would like to reconstruct the peaceful future. This is the momentum we have to support.
And that could give Angolan children, for the first time in a generation, the chance to harness the country's vast potential.
Over the past 60 years, UNICEF has made a difference in the lives of millions of children by helping them go to school. Education improves everybody's chance to have a better life. It helps to get a job, make friends, and provide a better future. But in Southern Africa, only 52% of the children get the chance. There aren't enough classrooms for all the kids, and a lot of their schools need to be repaired. Sometimes the students are forced to have class outside where they aren't protected from the hot sun or rain. And often there are not enough supplies for everyone. Think about all the things that you use every day to learn. Many schools in Africa don't have books, paper, pencils, or even desks and blackboards. In Africa, there are no school buses, and the walk to school for most kids is very far and sometimes dangerous. They're also missing the things that keep the kids healthy and safe, like clean water and separate washrooms for boys and girls. These conditions make it very hard for children to get an education, and a lot of them don't even have the chance to go to school. Many families are so poor that their kids need to go to work to help provide food. Other kids are forced to stay at home to take care of family members who are sick. They can even end up orphaned and on the streets. UNICEF and the Nelson Mandela Foundation are working to change all this with the Schools for Africa campaign. Together, we will build and improve schools, train teachers, and make sure that the most vulnerable children are back in the classroom.
Schools for Africa wants to establish child-friendly schools that are more suitable for the needs of children, so that more children finish at least primary school. This includes not only providing desks and tables, but also sanitary facilities. Separate toilets and washrooms for the girls are particularly important. Without sanitation, very often girls no longer went to school after their first period. UNICEF also installs water tanks and separate wells so that clean drinking water is available for the children, an additional incentive to go to school. Schools for Africa. The UNICEF project gives hope that the living conditions of children in Africa can sustainably improve with our help. There are no better investments in Africa's future. Every donation achieves a change. As little as €5 is sufficient for pens, exercise books, and additional school material for one student in Angola. Every contribution gives children like Mukaja Senga an opportunity for a better future.